I'm very, very excited to be here, guys. I have very little time to cover a lot of information. And every time, I love you too, bro. And every time I get to ask to speak, to me it humbles me. It humbles me because I was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico, in a place called Caserío Vista Hermosa, and Vista Hermosa means beautiful view, and this place was everything but beautiful. And I remember my mother used to make $100 a week raising single mother, 2 kids in Puerto Rico, and I don't remember ever having extravagant stuff. We were kind of poor. I remember my mother, my grandmother saying, "Hey, with food today in Puerto Rico, there's like this palm tree, and there's a fruit called pana, and you boil it. It's like a potato that grows on a tree. You boil it, and my grandmother used to send me up the tree. I used to cut it, and it used to come down. That's what we ate. And so." And I didn't know that. You know, even though my family was not wealthy, I was very rich in love. That I had enough of. So I never knew, but now being here, being on this stage, representing an amazing company like Hayani, let me tell you, it humbles me. It humbles me. And so what I'm going to do today, I want to talk to you guys about what it takes to build a business. And I want you to know that it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter whether you're male, female, whether you're Puerto Rican, Mexican, Hispanic, Chinese, Asian, Caucasian, it doesn't matter. You can have success within Hayani. You can have everything that your heart desires, everything your dreams desire, but there's going to be a price that we have to pay. Is that okay? Yeah. And so let's talk about this. I want to take you back to December of 2014. This is where at the time I was already 3 months, this is my 3rd month into the business. I just hit diamond at that time. And it was my 1st month as a diamond. But Mr. Kurt Hansen came to Dallas, Texas, and we had an event with Mr. Kurt Hansen, and he threw down a challenge for every single one of us. The challenge was, he says, create 500,000 in volume, green diamond, between December 15 and January 15. First of all, we had a few challenges there. Can you guys see that? We have never done that. But at that time, our team, the most it produced was 250,000 in volume. So he was asking for double from the month before in the hardest time to build a business, which is January 15 to December 15 to January 15. What do we have in those times? A lot of holidays, right? A lot of people are not, they're like, you know what, I'm going to hold on to my money because I got gifts, I got extra expenses, so I'll invest in a business after the New Year's. So that's what he asked. So it was a bold request, but we were up to the challenge. You see, we had a mentor that was working with us, Mr. Mark Davenport, and Mr. Mark Davenport asked us, do you want to accomplish this? And there was a group of us, about 26 of us, of leaders, that were saying, we want this. He said, do you really want it? I said, we really want this. He said, here's what it's going to take. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take accountability. It's going to take getting out of your comfort zone. He said, it will take for us to start an accountability call where we're on the phone every single day. Every single day. That means on the weekends, we're on the call at midnight, every single night. In the East Coast, it was at 1 a.m. for some of our partners. But every single day, Sundays, midnight, we were on the call. Weekends, we were on the call. Christmas Eve, we were on the call. New Year's Eve, we were on the call. He said it will require extreme focus for us to be able to accomplish this dream, to accomplish this goal. But we were up to it. Then Mr. Mark Davenport even threw down another challenge. He says, it will also require not to have a zero on this call. He said, we were supposed to, every single night, record our numbers. What was our daily effort activities? IBAs, income-bringing activities. What's an income-bringing activities? Anything that brings production or brings an individual into an event. That's an income-bringing activity. So we were supposed to report our numbers every single night, our daily efforts, be held accountable. And we were excited about that. We were so excited. In fact, Mr. Mark Danforth even threw down another challenge. He said, for us to accomplish our goal, we have to have a mindset that we're not going to have any zeros. No, every day, no matter who you are, you're going to produce volume every single day, no matter what. And that's the type of mindset that he instilled in us. And I remember a week into the call, the first person that didn't have no volume popped up. I remember because he started, and it's an interesting moment in time. When you make a commitment, and that moment of that commitment you make is being challenged. That's a very interesting moment. In fact, that also, it delivers who you are as a person. See, I tell my team all the time that everything, when life gives you pressure, what's inside comes out. This is part of nature. If you take an orange juice, you squeeze it, what comes out? Orange juice. If I take an apple and I squeeze it, what comes out? Apple juice. But if I take an orange and I squeeze it, apple juice doesn't come out, does it? Orange juice comes out. So the principle is what's inside. When life pressures you, what's inside comes out. And it's an interesting moment to be there in that place where life is pressuring you. Because this gentleman, he had many options. Now, but for the first time as a team, we found somebody, we found a crack in our armor. This individual said he didn't have no volume, but here's what he said. He continued. He said, Mr. Davenport, today I had 5 IBAs. I sent out 10 webinars. I did 1 PBR. I have no customer volume. I have no production volume. And I have 0 ILA tickets. However, he continued, because I did not want a 0, I purchased a potato pack. So my volume today is 25 in volume. Man, would that happen? Yeah, you can do some thinking about this. When that happened, we were electrified. Everybody in the call was like, oh my God. Because it was the first example of extreme ownership within the team. And we were like, and that example, that one little example set the course for every single one of us. We didn't put nobody in that call decided that day. Maybe we made a commitment, but the decision was made that in that moment at midnight, a week into the call. Then none of us will ever have a 0. Well, that time, December 15th to January 15th, not only did we produce 500,000 in volume, we produced 834,000 in volume. During the hardest time of the year. And we have many excuses. We have all the excuses. We never done this before. Kyani is brand new. The system still doesn't work. We had all the excuses in the world. But yet we didn't focus on that. My mentor used to tell me, he says, David, problems and excuses are those ugly things you focus on when you lost your vision. So we had a vision that was straightforward. And I want to talk to you about this because extreme ownership, this is what it takes for you to build your business. This is how the foundation of my organization, by the way, was built within those 30 days. The foundation of my organization was built within those 30 days. Here's what extreme ownership is. Extreme ownership means the leader must accept that he or she is truly ultimately responsible for everything. Everything. Now, this is for leaders, by the way. If you're a leader, say I. I. This is for leaders. Leaders assume responsibility. Everything's my fault. Everything. If I cross the street and I get hit by a car, I should have left 5 minutes earlier. That's leadership. Welcome to leadership. Now everything's your fault. Welcome to it. But what an amazing people. There's something so freeing from you freeing yourself from that, from excuses, from stories and narratives that have kept you that have kept you trapped in the same cycle of life over and over and over again. Something so freeing from that. You see, the word responsibility, I like it. This is called extreme responsibility, extreme ownership. The word responsibility comes from 2 words: response and ability. Those are the two words it came from. And what it says, that makes responsibility. And what it says is that at any given moment, we have the choice and we have the option to choose our response. That's what extreme ownership is. You can choose your response. If you agree with that, say aye. Aye. You can choose at any given moment your response. In fact, there's a great book that I highly recommend. It's called Men's Search for Meaning. Anybody read that book? Oh my God, it's an amazing, one of my top 5 favorite books, Men's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It was written many years ago. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust victim. And in that time he was a doctor, and he writes about his experiences in the Holocaust. And it's so motivating, that book, just to see someone who went to such extreme amount of pain, and yet how he chose to respond to that situation. And here's what he said. He says, they took everything away from me. They took my degrees. In those times, if you're a doctor, you have a paper degree. They don't have a computer, right? So if they burn your degree, that's the only evidence there was that you went through doctors, and you're a doctor. And so he said, they took my degree. They took my clothes. They took my family. They took everything away from me. But the only thing they could not take away from me was how I choose to respond to this situation. He called it the last human freedom. It's your choice, my choice, your choice, how we respond to every situation. So extreme ownership means this. Anytime that we give an excuse or what appears to be a legitimate reason, we're saying this: I did not have the ability to respond in this situation. And how many of you guys can agree with me that at any given moment, we have the ability to respond to any situation? If you agree with that, say aye. Aye. So this is alive for us. So we have to be, when it comes to business, you and I, especially in the organization, we have to have that mindset that we are 100% responsible for the results of our business. So let's talk about this. How do we apply this? In network marketing, it's very simple. There's phases. Phases of network marketing. Phase 1, they call it phase 1, that's creativity. This is where you're actively building a business. You're actively focused on doing income-bringing activities. This is where the leaders live. The leaders live in phase 1. Everybody say phase 1. Phase 1. You and I live in phase 1. We live in doing income-bringing activities, in doing presentations, anything that acquires the customers, anything that acquires the distributor, anything that helps someone come into an international leadership academy or some type of big event. That's an income-bringing activity. But what happens is, over time, leaders start getting comfortable. They see that they start getting some leverage, and they start having their team. Eventually, they're like, you know what, I can step away. Let my team do the work. And now you start analyzing. Let me see, you start calling your team, saying, hey, how many exposures you today? Great. Call the second person, how many exposures? And all of a sudden, now you're just analyzing numbers and just looking at what's sitting back. This is the problem. Because in this business, everything duplicates, good or bad. How many of you guys have already seen that? By show of hands. Everything duplicates. And unfortunately, the bad duplicates faster. Anybody has kids? Right? You gotta watch out, those toddlers, what you say. Because I was like, man, how come you didn't memorize that? They're good words. So everything duplicates in this business. So when phase 2 is a dangerous place to be. You want to be always in phase 1. Eventually what happens, people go into phase 3. They go now managing the managers. Now there's no momentum whatsoever. And negative thoughts and this narrative starts popping in your head. Well, this is why I'm doing this. This is why this person did this person did that. Eventually you go to phase 4, where now you are 100% blaming. And that's called phase out. You're out of the business. Let me share something and be honest with you. I've seen this process with people, and it's a sad process to see. But I want you guys to understand that awareness is key to success. Everybody say awareness. Awareness. It's key to success, guys. It's key. Awareness is the beginning of change. In fact, Alcoholics Anonymous has been one of the most powerful organizations out there to deliver change in people's lives. What's the first step? Admit you have a problem. In other words, be aware that you have a problem. You guys tracking, yes or no? Yes. So be aware that you have a problem. If you're aware of these phases, you can constantly check yourself to maintain yourself in phase one. Phase one is key. Phase one is key for every single one of us. We got to stay in phase one. So extreme ownership means taking ownership over your mindset. Because in order for you to stay in phase one, you got to control this thing right up here. Right up here. I want to talk to you about thoughts. Because our thoughts are made up of collective information that we have gathered through our five senses over our entire lifetime. Are you tracking? Yeah. If you're tracking, say I'm tracking. Yeah. Okay, let me repeat that. Our thoughts are gathered information that you and I have gathered through our five senses through our lifetime. You guys see that, right? Yeah. So it's the regurgitation of information from our past. And most of us did not have control of what we were going to, we had no say-so in what got deposited in this. No say-so whatsoever. We had the culture, we have our parents, we have fears, we have beliefs, we got everything, all that. And yet, we had no say-so in what it affects us. But I want to share with you, because the question has to arise, hey, wait a minute, if I had no control of that, are my thoughts predestined already? Can you assume that because someone went through an experience, the same results can happen? It's a legitimate question, isn't it? Let me ask you, let me share with you this process of thoughts. You got thoughts. Our thoughts become feelings. Our feelings become actions. Our actions, eventually over time, become habits. Let's look into this real quick. So you have thoughts that you have been influenced, that have been given to you, you and I, since the moment we were born. They have been feeding this information that we have gathered through our five senses. Those thoughts eventually create our feelings. And feelings create actions. How many of you have ever done anything in your life that you're good at, but that day you didn't feel like doing it, so you were not that good at that day? Raise your hand. Okay, almost everybody. How many of you have ever done something that you're not good at, but you felt like doing it that day and you crushed it? You were in the zone. If that you say aye. So our thoughts and our feelings dictate our actions and the intensity of our action. So our thoughts influence, our heavy influence our actions become our habits become our destiny. Here's what I want you guys to understand when it comes to extreme ownership and responsibility. That it's not just the thoughts that become the feelings. It's actually the meaning and focus on those thoughts that create the feeling. They create the action. They create the habit. Let me explain. You and I can think the same thought and give it two different types of meanings. Yes or no? Yes. Two different types of meanings create two different types of feelings. Two different types of feelings create two different types of actions. Two different types of action create two different types of destiny. So we can think the same thought. You and I have to assume responsibility that at any given moment we have the power to give meaning to your thoughts, regardless of what it is. And here's what I argue. I argue that successful people, the people that are at achieving phenomenal achievements, they have learned to give the right type of meaning to their thoughts that empowers them, rather than it takes power away from them. You and I have that power. That's the one choice that we have. We can choose what to focus on, and therefore choose the power in those thoughts that empowers us, rather than it takes power away from us. The opposite point of that is that you give meaning to the thoughts that make you a victim. Guys, victims never win, ever. So how do you know this? How do you know if you're giving the right type of meaning? It's actually very, very simple. But you have to step back and look at this from an objective point of view. You got to step back and look at it with awareness. Any thought, any meaning that you give a thought that does not empower you, that creates this icky feeling inside of you, any thought that you give that meaning to is the wrong type of meaning. Very, very simple. It's the wrong type of meaning. But your focus determines what the meaning you give, the intensity. I love this cartoon picture right here. It says so much of our happiness depends on how we choose to look at the world. Isn't that true? Isn't it? I mean, look at this. Same bus ride, right? Same route, same everything. The only difference is one chose to focus on the wall, the other chose to focus on the mountain. Two men sat behind prison bars. One saw mud, the other saw stars. It's the same exact scenario. Two different types of focus, two different types of meanings. They create two different types of feelings. They create two different types of actions. They create two different types of habits. They create two different types of destiny. Are you guys learning something? Yes or no? Yes! I love this stuff. I love to analyze this because I want to know what made David Nieves. What is the process here that's happening? And not understanding this is key for every single one of us. So how do we, what's the next step? Next step of stream ownership is you gotta understand that you have to check your ego. And man, we all have egos, by the way. And the ego, recently, I was in a very internal battle with ego. I was like, man, is ego good? Is ego bad? Is spiritually, my, pastors talk about ego being bad. But then ego at the same time, it drives competition. The ego, a checked ego is actually good. It drives competition. It drives for you to be better, and you can be better so you can help other people. You know the definition of hero, where the word hero came from? It's literally from the Greek word "heroe," which literally means protector. A protector that becomes one stronger, not just for himself, but for one more person. That's what hero is. And I tell you this because I don't know why I told you that. That was actually good info, though. Yeah, squirrel. I got you with me. Good. I'm so happy you get it. Okay, so let's talk about the ego. This is very important for us to understand. The ego will get in the way. It will get in the way. The ego loves to be right while making others wrong. Blaming is nutrition for the ego. It loves it, and it becomes stronger from it. The ego feels threatened by growth and change. Let's look at this real quick. Our egos loves to be right. The moment, and the problem is, if you don't check your ego, how many of you guys agree with me that if you ain't humble, you're on your way to being humble? Right? Are you ever in that position? You seen that? Someone. I've seen these YouTube videos where someone's rude to somebody on the street and they're walking all cool and all something like just boom, they hit a pole. They just got humble quick, right? You guys seen that before? So if you're humble, you're on your way to being humble. So you and I have to keep our ego checked because the ego likes to be right. The ego likes to if someone else wrong makes them happy. Makes the ego happy. I was like, it proves that I'm right. And it's just like this feeling that comes inside. You and I have to check that feeling. Have to make sure that feeling is always in check. It's very, very important. Now, we all have it. There's nothing wrong with it. What's wrong with it if you let it get out of control? The acronym for ego is EGO, H God out, H the light out, H love out. So what we have to focus is checking the ego. Here, let me give you some things that the ego likes, some of the lies the ego likes to do, especially. This is some of the things that I see that the ego likes to refer to in order for them to feel good. Like, this mark is different. Oh, you don't understand, David. This mark is different. Sure it is. Human beings are human beings. We all want the same thing. We all want freedom. We all have families that we love. We all want to spend time with our family. We like shelter. We like security. That's a human being. It doesn't matter whether you're Chinese, Indian, Puerto Rican, Caucasian. It doesn't matter. You're gonna have the same needs. Yes or no? Lack of support from my upline. I was like, David, you understand? I just don't have no support from my upline. Really? You guys know that there's always an upline above that upline? And there's always an upline above that upline? It's always, that's called awareness. Thank you very much. That's it. So, lack of support, you can go up and keep going up. Eventually, you get to James Bradford or Becky Purcell. Is that a bad deal? Oh, is that a pretty good deal? That's a pretty good deal. So there's no such thing as I don't have support. My team is not doing anything. Well, you go do something then. We take personal responsibility. We go do it. You know, one of the best advice that I received from my mentor says, David, don't seek to motivate, seek out motivated people. And I'm like, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Seek out people who are motivated. And were there people in your team right now that could have been here but didn't show up? If that's a true statement, say aye. Okay. We can't. And it's hard to explain that. How do you explain somebody that doesn't want it for themselves as much as you want it for them? That's a little dangerous, by the way. When you want it so much for someone, they don't want it for themselves, because you can get so emotionally invested there that it can actually hurt you. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about? You gotta learn to give people space to grow. Give people their space. You saw people from here that are left behind at home. You can call them up, show them pictures, say, hey, how's it going? Hey, this is your upline diamond. I know you haven't met, but so you can do that. But you got to give that person space to grow. No one's joining me. Well, if no one's joining you, no one's joining me, I need to look at me. Yes or no? Yes. Why are people not joining me? My dress and my breasting, what's happening here? I talked to everyone. Sure you did. Everyone? My team left me. Go build another team. Very simple. I've never done this before. Well, you never walked before until you learn how to walk. You never rode a bike before until you learn how to ride a bike. Everything that you do for the first time, you do it for the first time. That's obvious. Blank happened to me. Therefore, this is why this and that. This blank did this to me. Therefore, this and that. All these are lies from the ego, guys. They're lies. You have to accept it. They're lies. We are always in control. We can always choose. You see, most of these things are resources. Time is a resource, yes or no? Money is a resource. All these are resources. But in my mentor said, David, it's never the lack of resources that stops, it's the lack of resourcefulness that stops you. And when you assume extreme responsibility, you get resourceful. Like really resourceful. You find ways to make it happen. Mr. James Bradford did something, and he said something very key from main stage. He said, if I was to give you my paycheck, here's my paycheck, and for you to make 10 appointments, today, how many of you guys can make 10 appointments for $100,000? What if you have, wait a minute, what if you have no list? What if you don't know anybody? What if you have no money? What if you have no time? What if that happens? You make it happen, right? You just say, I don't know, I'll make it happen. My mentor said to me, David, my mentor said, David, if I put a gun to your head and I tell you make it happen, what do you do? Make it happen. I like my head. So I make it happen. So realize that all this, guys, is just the ego talking, trying to make you feel good, trying to make us feel good. And you and I have the responsibility to check that ego immediately so we can move forward. See, to check the ego takes a couple of things. It takes humility and courage. I told you that if you're humble, you're on your way to being humble, ladies and gentlemen. But it takes courage, because to step out of your comfort zone takes courage. I remember when I was 12 years old, I got into boxing, and I did box for many years, and I was at this gym, and it was so much fun. I loved it, and I got good at it. I got really good at it. But I was in my gym until I left to a different gym. Oh yeah. Because I was a fish in a small pond. Now I jumped from one fish, this fish jumped to a bigger pond. And there were some big fish in there. And they humble me quick. When you get in the ring, they humble you quick. They let you know who's alpha immediately. Yeah. But in order for someone to jump from somewhere that they're secure, where they're constantly being validated, that they're good, and jumping from that to a situation where that validation is gone, all you have is growth because you're going to learn for every punch you hit, every mistake you make, you get to know. So all there is to grow. To do that takes courage. That takes courage for every single one of you to do. For you to be coachable takes courage. And there's people here that are much older than me, but yet they're humble and they have the courage enough to follow me and to listen to my advice. That takes courage, and I applaud people like that because that's what it takes to be a leader. All leaders, before they were leaders, they were followers. They were great followers. How many of you guys can agree with that? So, all leaders were, before they were leaders, they were great followers. You and I have to make that step. Make that step that we're going to be 100% coachable. We're going to be humble. Be a humble person, man. There's nothing more beautiful than someone who is wealthy and humble. Isn't it? Like when you meet somebody like this guy makes $2 million a year, $5 million a year. This girl makes $5 million a year. You could have never tell. She's so nice and smiles, doesn't look down at anybody. That's the type of people we are in Kainani. We want to be good people that are wealthy, but good people. We want to do an exercise because I want you guys to understand that before I started really believing that I could do this, it was a process. I can tell you that my biggest struggle was self-doubt. My biggest struggle was this low self-image. I just didn't know if I could do this. My biggest struggle is, could I do this? You see, I give the example of one of my best friends, Mr. Miles Staller, who, amazing. I mean, let's give him a big hand, please. Right here, look. Mr. Staller grew up differently than me. He grew up in a household of leadership. When he came into this business, his leadership lid was already really, really high. He hit diamond in record time, blue diamond record time, green diamond record time, now still one of the fastest growing within our organization. The fastest thing growing within our organization. But he came there, so he had that type of leadership. I, on the other hand, wasn't like that. I developed. He developed too, but he developed over a different way that I developed. I developed, it took me 7.5 years of paving at this, working on myself, and be able to kill all these insecurities, because that's what it was. I was a very insecure person. I was very, very insecure. This person that's standing in front of me is not the same person that I was 5, 7, 10 years ago. Not the same person. So I was very insecure, so I had to work on that. And that took a process of me visualizing myself as a winner, visualizing the person that I was to become. And focusing on that, and not focusing on the things that I don't want, not focusing on the naysayers, not focusing on doubt, not focusing on the ego, saying, David, you've never done this before. What makes you think you can do it? Nobody in your family has ever made $1 million a year. What makes you think you're going to be the first millionaire in your family? You come from Puerto Rico. Your mom made $400 a month. All these things are in my head, and I'm battling with it. So that took time for me to do that. But it was constantly seeing myself as a person of as a person of value, as a person that can achieve their dreams, as a person with strength. Everybody sit up for me. No, stand up. Sit up. Everybody sit up. Sit up straight for me. Put everything down. We're gonna do an exercise. You will need to take notes now. Okay. All right, everybody sit up. Okay, take a deep breath. Good. Thank you. Take a deep breath. All right, breathe through your nose, out through your mouth. Now I want you guys to close your eyes for me. Don't worry, nobody's gonna steal your purses. We're here. I want you to close your eyes with me, and we're gonna visualize something. We're gonna visualize your Purple Diamond promotion. It is your Purple Diamond promotion day. You're at your room right now, you're changing in your clothes that you're gonna be carrying on stage. That feeling inside of you is butterflies in your stomach. That night comes, and Mr. Skylar Stephenson calls you up, says, okay, get your team ready to the back. Back at the front of the stage. All your team needs you in the back. Everybody's crying. They're so happy for you. The founders are on stage, and they're about to announce your promotion. Your music is playing. The music that you're going to get promoted to is playing. Your team puts you in a chair, and they carry you on their shoulders, and they start walking towards the stage. Every step, more and more people are clapping. People around you are crying, and everything that you went through, everything, all your fears, everything that you had to overcome starts popping up. That person that told you no, that person that laughed at you, that person that stood you up, that person that criticized you. And all this, it starts popping up, but it's replaced by a feeling of joy, a feeling of overcoming. That feeling keeps getting stronger and stronger for every step you take towards the stage. All your diamonds are all around you. They're crying, they're high-fiving you. They put you down on the chair down. And now everybody starts hugging you one at a time. You start going up the stage. The founders are clapping for you, and they're smiling for you. They each give you a hug and tell you congratulations. Congratulations for paying the price. Congratulations for leaving your family behind and sacrificing for them. Congratulations for getting Purple Diamond. The stage is open now, and they give you the mic, and you start telling your story. You begin telling your story of failure and successes, of sacrifices and love, of pain and recovery. You start telling your life story, inspiring thousands of people in that arena. Thousands of people are cheering, being inspired by your story, by your sacrifice. Is the microphone is given to Mr. Skylar Stephenson, and he's introducing you. Kayani, welcome, newly promoted, Purple Diamond. There's you. Open your eyes. How many of you guys saw that? This will be your reality. This will be what will come to pass if you assume responsibility. If you do everything that it takes. And don't look back, don't look forward, you focus. Focus on your vision. Focus on your dream. Many times, people didn't see it. They didn't see it. They didn't see my daughter going to the hospital. They didn't see, my friends and people that criticized me, they saw, David, you're crazy. You're going out there, leaving your children behind. You're doing presentations here. You're doing that. But they didn't see it. They didn't see my daughter in the hospital and me showing up and telling the doctor, would she be okay? 3 days she was in life support. After that day, after that she got better, I asked the doctor, can she travel? He said, yes. And we came to Disney World for 10 days. During those 3 days, I didn't have to worry about, did I have a job? I didn't have to worry about money. I didn't have to worry about nothing. I was next to my daughter every hour. You have a vision. It is your vision. Don't let anybody take away that vision. You see, those people that were negative to me, that didn't see me, that said they ignored me, that did everything possible to make me feel bad. Those people, they didn't see the day that I retired my mother. They didn't see the day that I walked in. I went into a limousine and picked on my mother, told my mom, you will never have to work a single day in your life. Because I paid the price for it. They didn't see that. It is your vision, not their vision. Everybody say, my vision. My vision. It's your vision. Your vision. Don't expect someone else to see your vision. Don't expect it. It's your vision. Some will see it though. Allah will see it. And you will create the most amazing relationships. The most amazing people you will meet. And then the truth will be known that a truth sets in that sometimes it's also good to associate yourself, not just people with a common past, but with people with a common future. You will meet beautiful people. You will inspire so many people. You will change so many people's lives. Well, you got to keep your vision alive. You got to keep that North Star alive. And focus on your vision. And don't look left, don't look right, and you focus. You focus and you focus on what you know you want. That visualization, what you saw today, that's real. That was real. That will happen. I visualized my daughter from Purple Down so many times. It will happen for you. 100%. It will happen for you. Kayani's here. Kayani Mr. Kurt Hansen, the founders have created the most amazing opportunity. The corporate staff is ready. They're ready for $1 billion. They're ready for $500 million in commission to be paid out in commissions every single year. They're ready. And this is gonna be you. Do me a favor, everybody. I want to say one more thing. Come to the edge of your seat. I want you to pay attention to this. Please. Don't let somebody else's opinion steal your dream. The most dangerous thing about this industry is that we are so wrapped up in somebody else's opinions because we want so much the approval of other people. Approval of other people, by the way, it means it's ego. Your ego wants approval. The light inside of you, that which is already great, that which is, it was manifested. You didn't have to do anything to be this amazing body, your brain, everything you got. Everything was free. The light inside of you is free already. I'm so thrilled to be here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. You know, Mr. Bradford is going to ask me in a little bit, my upline double red diamond, he will ask me, so how'd it go? So now I can say, man, I left him at the edge of their seats. Thank you very much.